The nebula expanse stretched across the galaxy like a swirling river of light. Stars shone faintly through the dense clouds of gas and dust, giving the system a mysterious, almost sacred aura. For centuries, the Zirath, a tall and imposing alien race, ruled these stars with unmatched strategy and military skill. Their fleets were feared, their tactics perfected. Entire civilizations surrendered at the mere mention of their name. And yet, here came the humans. The human exploratory fleet moved cautiously, scanning the unknown expanse. At the head of this small convoy sailed the USS Resolute, a ship unlike any other humanity had ever built. Sleek, yet formidable, it gleamed under the distant light of a dying sun. Its advanced propulsion system allowed it to maneuver with unprecedented speed, and its modular weapons could adapt to almost any situation. On the bridge, Captain Layla Harper stood silently, her eyes fixed on the star-filled void ahead. She was in her late 30s, with a calm confidence that commanded respect. Around her, the crew worked with precision, their faces tense but determined. "Captain," said Lieutenant Miro, the communications officer, "we're picking up a transmission. It's coming from multiple points around the system. It's Zirath." Layla nodded. She had expected this. "Put it through." A holographic figure materialized in the center of the bridge. The alien was tall, almost humanoid, but with elongated limbs and dark metallic skin that shimmered under the light of its own projection. Its eyes glowed faintly, a sign of the species' unique bioluminescent trait. "I am High Strategist Clith," the Zirath declared, his voice echoing with a cold precision. "You have entered our domain uninvited. Know this, war is perfected by my people. You are weak, and your species will crumble before the might of Zirath strategy. Surrender, and your end will be swift. Resist, and you will be annihilated." The crew of the Resolute exchanged nervous glances, but Layla remained steady. She had faced threats before, but none like this. The Zirath were not just a military force, they were a symbol of perfection in war. Many believed no species could ever outthink them. Layla's voice was calm but firm. "We do not surrender. Humanity does not bow to threats. We explore, we learn, and if war comes, we face it with courage." There was a pause, long enough that tension filled the bridge. The Zirath's eyes narrowed. "Brave words for a species so small. You will regret your arrogance." Then the projection flickered and vanished. "Captain," said Lieutenant Miro, "they're mobilizing. Scans show a fleet moving toward the outpost on Beta 9. It's a small colony barely defended. They will destroy it in less than 6 hours if we don't act." Layla's jaw tightened. The outpost housed hundreds of humans, scientists, engineers, innocent people who had no idea that war had arrived at their doorstep. "Set a course," she ordered. "We intercept them, but we do it smart. We use the Resolute's advantages. No direct confrontation unless necessary. We fight with brains, not just firepower." The crew nodded, understanding the stakes. The USS Resolute was humanity's most advanced ship, but the Zirath fleet was larger, more experienced, and ruthlessly efficient. To face them head-on would be suicide. As the Resolute approached the system's outer rim, the gas clouds of the nebula expanse began to glow faintly under the sun's light. Layla studied the holographic map. "We will approach from the shadow of the nebula," she said. "Sensors will have difficulty detecting us. We gain the element of surprise." Lieutenant Miro raised an eyebrow. "You really think stealth can work against the Zirath? They predict moves before they happen." Layla smiled faintly. "Then let's make them predict something impossible." The ship moved silently, its engines whispering through the void. The Zirath fleet was vast, dozens of warships in perfect formation. Each ship looked like a black fortress, bristling with weapons and shields. Their sensors were likely scanning every inch of space, looking for any hint of human activity. Inside the Resolute, tension mounted. Crew members checked their stations, ran diagnostics, and adjusted energy outputs. The ship's weapon system hummed softly, waiting for the command to awaken its full power. As the humans edged closer, Layla activated the cloaking field, a technology still in testing, capable of hiding the ship from even the most advanced scanners. "Cloak active," reported Lieutenant Rena, the engineering officer. "We're invisible." "Good," Layla replied. "Now we wait for the first move." The Zerath fleet advanced toward the outpost. Their ships moved with terrifying precision, forming an unbroken wall of steel and energy. On the surface of Beta 9, alarms blared. Colonists ran to bunkers, unsure of what was happening. The humans were outnumbered, outgunned, and seemingly defenseless. But then something unexpected happened. Shadows shifted among the gas clouds. The USS Resolute, unseen, glided into position behind the Zerath formation. Sensors failed to detect it. The ship was in a perfect strike position, a dagger ready to pierce the heart of the alien fleet. "Target their command vessel," Layla ordered. "One shot to disrupt their coordination. After that, we adapt. We fight smart." Lieutenant Miro's fingers flew across the console. "Target locked. Weapons ready." Layla took a deep breath. She knew the importance of this moment. Humanity had never faced a foe like the Zerath before. Every decision, every calculation could mean life or death for the people on Beta 9, and for the crew of the Resolute. The first energy pulse shot from the Resolute's main cannon, striking the Zerath command ship. The alien vessel shuddered, its shields flickering. Chaos spread through the Zerath formation. Ships adjusted, trying to compensate for the unexpected strike, but the humans were already moving. Unpredictable. Adaptive. "Deploy decoys," Layla commanded. Holographic projections erupted from the ship, multiplying its apparent size. Zerath sensors detected dozens of ships where there was only one. Their formation wavered as they tried to identify the real threat. Lieutenant Rena reported from engineering. "Energy levels holding, shields stable, weapons ready for next command." Layla's eyes narrowed. The battle had begun, and humanity had shown the first sign that it would not be an easy target. The Resolute's systems hummed to life. Holographic projections created dozens of illusions, each one indistinguishable from the real ship. The Zerath sensors, despite their advanced technology, struggled to identify the actual human vessel. Confusion rippled through the alien fleet, breaking their usual precise coordination. "Captain," said Lieutenant Rena from engineering, "all systems are stable. Shields are at full capacity. Weapons are ready for the next strike." "Good," Layla replied. "Keep them ready. We hit when we see an opening." The Zerath commander, High Strategist Clith, observed the unfolding chaos from his flagship. His eyes, glowing with an eerie light, narrowed as he realized the humans were using unorthodox tactics. "Adapt," he ordered. "Target every projection. Focus on the ship that strikes first." But the humans were already one step ahead. Using the nebula clouds as cover, the Resolute slipped behind a cluster of Zerath destroyers. From this hidden position, they launched a sudden, coordinated attack. Energy pulses struck multiple ships at once, disrupting their shields and forcing them to scatter. On the bridge, the human crew worked with precision. "We've taken out their forward cannons," Miro reported. "They're trying to reform their formation." "Good," Layla said. "Prepare for the next phase. We're going to target their command ship again. This time, we aim to disable their central communications." Rena's fingers flew over the console. "Weapons are locked on target. Ready to fire on your mark." "Fire!" Layla commanded. The Resolute's weapons unleashed a concentrated blast. The energy struck the Zerath command vessel, causing a ripple of sparks across its hull. Shields faltered, and systems glitched. The aliens had expected their war mastery to prevent such an attack, but they were unprepared for human ingenuity. Back on Beta 9, colonists watched the battle unfold through their limited sensors. They could see bursts of light and movement in the distance, but they could not identify the ships. Still, hope rose in their hearts. Humanity was fighting back, and the impossible seemed within reach. "Captain," Miro said, "they're sending a smaller squadron to flank us. They've learned from our last strike." In the midst of the nebula, the humans used every advantage they could: shadows, gas clouds, and clever maneuvers. The Zerath, who claimed to have mastered war, were being challenged in ways they had not expected. Back on Beta 9, colonists watched the sky in awe. They could not see the Resolute, but they felt its presence. The alien fleet began to retreat slightly, uncertain of what had struck their command ship. Humanity's ingenuity was turning the tide of fear into hope. "Captain," Lieutenant Miro said, voice tense but excited, "they're regrouping. We've bought the outpost time." "Good," Layla replied. "This is just the beginning. Humanity will show them that war is not just about perfection. It's about courage, adaptability, and the will to survive." As the nebula expanse shimmered around them, the USS Resolute prepared for the next phase of the battle. The aliens had underestimated humans, and that mistake could cost them everything. For the first time in history, the galaxy would see that humans were not a species to be dismissed, and somewhere deep inside, Layla felt a spark of pride. Pride not just in her crew, but in all of humanity. The stage was set, the challenge had arrived, and humanity was ready. The nebula expanse was alive with light and shadow as the human ship USS Resolute moved silently through its swirling gas clouds. The battle had begun, and humanity had already taken the first step in proving that courage and intelligence could rival sheer numbers. On the bridge, Captain Layla Harper studied the holographic display. The Zerath fleet was regrouping, their ships forming a new formation in the void. "They're trying to calculate our next move," she said quietly. "Let's make sure they can't." Lieutenant Miro tapped on the console. "Captain, they're expecting a standard engagement. They think we'll either retreat or fight directly. They don't know about the decoys." Layla's lips curved in a small smile. "Good. Let's give them a lesson in unpredictability. Deploy the decoys in a sweeping formation. Make it look like multiple ships are approaching from every direction." "Good," Layla replied. "It means our tactics are working. Let them come. We'll meet them on our terms." The smaller Zerath squadron moved quickly, attempting to surround the Resolute. But the humans were ready. Using the ship's advanced propulsion system, Layla executed a series of unpredictable maneuvers, weaving between asteroids and gas clouds. The alien ships struggled to keep up, their formation breaking as they tried to anticipate the humans' movements. "Deploy proximity mines," Layla ordered. "Set them to activate only when they are near our decoys." Minutes later, the Zerath ships were caught off guard. Explosions rocked their vessels as the mines detonated, causing confusion and forcing them to scatter further. The Resolute remained untouched, moving silently through the chaos. "Excellent," Rena said, her voice filled with excitement. "They can't predict us. Every move we make, they struggle to respond." Layla nodded. "That's the key. War is not just about numbers or experience. It's about thinking, adapting, and staying one step ahead. Humans have something they don't: creativity under pressure." High Strategist Clith roared in frustration. "They are learning. Adjust your tactics. Do not let them control the battle." But the humans continued to innovate. Layla directed the Resolute to launch a series of energy pulses designed to interfere with the Zerath sensors. Their fleet faltered again, unable to coordinate effectively. Each move the humans made created new opportunities, forcing the aliens to react rather than lead. "Captain," Miro said, pointing to the display, "the command vessel is showing signs of overload. Their communications are failing." Layla's eyes gleamed. "Prepare for boarding protocols if necessary, but for now, we strike from a distance. We need to weaken them before they can call reinforcements." The battle continued for hours, each side testing the limits of their strategy. The Zerath were skilled and deadly, but the humans were unpredictable and daring. Every tactic the aliens had mastered was challenged by the ingenuity of the Resolute and its crew. Meanwhile, on Beta 9, civilians hid in bunkers, listening to the distant sounds of explosions and energy blasts transmitted through emergency channels. Fear lingered, but so did hope. Humanity was showing the galaxy that even against an enemy who claimed mastery of war, courage, and intelligence could turn the tide. "Captain," Rena said, "we're detecting a large fleet approaching from the outer system. Reinforcements, likely the main Zerath fleet." Layla took a deep breath. This was the moment she had anticipated. "We expected this. Prepare all systems, shields, weapons, engines, everything. We will not back down. Humanity fights until the end." As the main Zerath fleet arrived, the Resolute moved into position, using the nebula to mask its presence. Layla studied the display carefully, looking for weaknesses. She noticed a pattern in the alien formation, a slight delay between their frontline ships and the heavier vessels behind. "There's our opening," she said. "Focus fire on the lead ships. Force them to adjust. We strike where they least expect." The humans unleashed a coordinated barrage. Energy beams cut through the alien ships' shields, forcing them to scatter. The Zerath, who prided themselves on precision, struggled to adapt to the unexpected assault. "Captain, the command vessel is destabilizing," Miro reported. "They're losing coordination across the fleet." "Good," Layla said. "We keep the pressure. We cannot let them recover." As the battle raged, the Resolute demonstrated humanity's unique strengths. Unlike the Zerath, who relied on rigid strategy, humans could improvise. Every crew member contributed, their quick thinking and courage turning the tide of the fight. At one point, a Zerath fighter attempted a surprise attack on the Resolute. It darted between asteroids, firing energy beams. But the humans were ready. Using the ship's modular weapons, they intercepted the fighter and disabled it without destroying it. The Zerath were astonished. Humans were not just aggressive, they were clever and precise. The hours of battle tested the crew to their limits. Sweat dripped, fingers ached, and minds raced. Yet no one faltered. Humanity's spirit shone through every maneuver, every decision, every strike. Finally, after a long and exhausting engagement, the Zerath fleet began to retreat. Their command structure was in chaos, their ships damaged, and their confidence shaken. For the first time, they faced a species that refused to be predictable, a species that fought not just with weapons, but with intelligence and courage. On the bridge of the Resolute, the crew cheered quietly, knowing this was only the beginning. They had won a significant engagement, but the war was far from over. Layla stood at the center of the bridge, looking out at the retreating alien fleet. "Humanity has shown its strength today," she said softly. "We fought not just to survive, but to prove that we can overcome the impossible. And we will continue to do so no matter what challenges lie ahead." The nebula expanse shimmered around them, a silent witness to humanity's triumph. The USS Resolute, battered but unbroken, sailed through the stars, a symbol of ingenuity, courage, and hope. The galaxy had begun to notice. Humanity was no longer just a minor species on the edge of space. They were a force to be respected, a species capable of challenging even the most feared war masters. And somewhere deep inside, Layla knew that the true test was still to come. The Zerath would regroup, and the next battle would be even greater. But for now, humanity had taken its first step toward proving that courage, intelligence, and determination could defy any expectation. The Resolute glided silently, its crew ready for whatever lay ahead. In the heart of the nebula expanse, amidst light and shadow, humanity had declared itself a force to be reckoned with. And the galaxy would remember this day, the day a single human battleship challenged the masters of war and survived. The nebula expanse had become a stage of chaos, light, and fire. The human ship, USS Resolute, glided silently, seemingly calm amid the storm of energy beams and explosions. For hours, humanity had fought against the Zerath, a species that claimed to have mastered war itself. Now the final battle loomed. On the bridge, Captain Layla Harper studied the alien fleet through the holographic display. Hundreds of ships had gathered, more than she had anticipated. Yet, the humans were ready. Every weapon was online, every system optimized, and every crew member focused. "Captain," said Lieutenant Miro, pointing at the display, "they're forming a complete encirclement. If we move forward, they'll trap us." Layla's eyes narrowed. "Good. That means they think they can predict us. Let's give them something they cannot anticipate." She tapped the console, activating a series of systems that had never been tested in battle. Miniature drones deployed from the Resolute, each emitting holographic illusions of ships. Energy fields were pulsed at varying frequencies, disrupting Zerath sensors. Every move was designed to confuse, distract, and overwhelm the enemy. Engineering, maintain shields at maximum. Weapons, target the lead ships in the formation. We break the front, and the rest will falter, Layla commanded. "Understood, Captain," said Lieutenant Rena, her hands flying over the controls. "All systems ready, awaiting your order." The humans moved like a single organism, each action synchronized, each decision deliberate. The Resolute's engines roared as it darted between asteroids and nebula clouds. Energy beams streaked across the void, striking alien ships with precision. For the first time, the Zerath began to doubt themselves. They had faced countless species and armies, yet none had fought like these humans. They were unpredictable, adaptable, and relentless. Every strategy the aliens tried to enforce crumbled under the creativity of the humans. High Strategist Clith shouted across his command vessel, "Do not underestimate them! Adapt! Strike harder!" But the humans had already adapted faster. Using the nebula's dense gas clouds, Layla executed a maneuver that allowed the Resolute to pass behind the alien fleet undetected. She targeted the Zerath flagship, the heart of their operation, planning a strike that would change the battle entirely. "Weapons locked," Miro reported. "Ready on your mark." "Fire," Layla ordered. A concentrated beam shot from the Resolute, striking the flagship's shields. Sparks flew across the alien hull. Systems faltered. Communication lines between the ships were disrupted. For the first time, the Zerath fleet moved without coordination, each ship reacting individually rather than as a single entity. "Captain, they're breaking formation," Reyna exclaimed. "Our tactics are working." "Good," Layla said. "Now, keep them off balance. We cannot let them regroup." The Resolute moved like lightning through the battlefield, striking weak points in the alien formation. Smaller Zerath ships tried to flank them, but each attempt was countered with precision strikes, clever maneuvers, and the use of decoys. Humanity's ingenuity was on full display. Meanwhile, on Beta 9, colonists and scientists watched the battle unfold on emergency screens. Their fear had turned into awe and hope. Humanity was not just surviving, it was winning against a force that had never known defeat. "Captain," Miro said, "the command vessel is destabilizing. Their reinforcements are hesitant. They're not sure how to respond." Layla nodded. This was the moment she had been waiting for. Humanity had shown strength, courage, and cleverness. Now, it was time to deliver the final blow. "Prepare the Resolute for the final strike," she said. "We take out the flagship, and the rest will follow." The crew worked with determination. Systems hummed, shields glowed, and weapons aligned. Every human on the ship knew the stakes. Failure was not an option. They were the front line of humanity, the symbol of their species' courage and ingenuity. The Resolute moved at incredible speed, dodging energy blasts and weaving through the debris of destroyed ships. With every move, Layla's confidence grew. The Zirath, masters of war, had never faced a foe like this. As the Resolute approached the flagship, the alien vessel unleashed its full arsenal. Massive energy beams cut through space, each strike more powerful than the last. But the humans were ready. Shields flared, energy pulses deflected attacks, and the ship's advanced propulsion allowed near-impossible maneuvers. "Hold steady," Layla commanded. "We are close. One more strike, and we end this." With precision, the Resolute fired its main weapon at the flagship's core. The beam hit true. The alien ship shuddered violently as its systems overloaded. Sparks and energy arcs flew across its hull. Then, with a final shudder, it fell silent. The flagship was disabled. The rest of the Zirath fleet hesitated. Without their command ship, coordination collapsed. Smaller ships tried to flee, but the humans pressed the attack, cutting them off with clever maneuvers and precision strikes. One by one, the remaining alien ships were forced to retreat. On the bridge, the crew of the Resolute cheered quietly. They had done it. Against impossible odds, humanity had outsmarted a species that claimed to have mastered war. "Captain," Miro said, his voice filled with pride, "they're retreating. We've won this engagement." Layla allowed herself a small smile. "We have. But remember, this is only the beginning. The galaxy is watching. Humanity has shown that we are not weak, that we are clever, brave, and resilient. This is our message to all who underestimate us. We will not be defeated." The nebula expanse was quiet now, lit by the remnants of the battle. Smoke and debris drifted through the void. The USS Resolute sailed through the aftermath, victorious but vigilant. Every crew member knew that challenges lay ahead. But today, they had proven that humanity could face even the most fearsome foes and prevail. Back on Beta 9, colonists emerged from bunkers, cheering and celebrating. Humanity had won not just a battle, but hope itself. Scientists, engineers, and families embraced, inspired by the courage of those who had fought in the stars. High Strategist Clith, observing from the remnants of his fleet, clenched his fists. He had underestimated humanity. They were not just another species. They were a force of ingenuity, courage, and relentless determination. He would remember this day as the day humans showed that even against perfection in war, they could prevail. On the bridge of the Resolute, Layla looked at her crew, exhausted but smiling. "Today we proved something important," she said. "Humanity survives, humanity adapts, humanity triumphs, and no one can take that away from us." Rena spoke up, her voice trembling with emotion. "Captain, we did it. We really did it." Layla nodded. "Yes, but never forget. We must always be ready. The galaxy is vast and challenges are endless. But if we stand together, humans can face anything." As the USS Resolute sailed through the stars, the crew felt a deep sense of pride. They had fought the impossible and won. Humanity had shown its true strength, creativity, courage, and the will to survive. The nebula expanse shimmered around them, a silent witness to their triumph. The stars seemed to shine brighter, reflecting the spirit of a species that refused to be defeated. "Set course for Earth," Layla ordered. "We have a message to deliver." The Resolute moved smoothly through the void, a symbol of hope and resilience. Across the galaxy, civilizations would remember the day humanity faced the masters of war and proved that even the strongest could be challenged by courage, ingenuity, and determination. And somewhere deep inside, Captain Harper knew that this victory was more than just a battle. It was the beginning of a new chapter for humanity, a chapter where humans were no longer underestimated, where their spirit shone brighter than any star, and where they would continue to shape their destiny among the stars. Humanity had triumphed, and the galaxy would never forget it.